So, have any kind of fears or doubts or anything come up since we talked about the package, since we talked about, how much stuff there is to do? Any other fears based on yesterday and what we were working on? Any other particular fears and doubts that have come up for anyone? The question was, how does TED work? How does TED.com work? She's already thinking about world domination. It's fabulous. Let's do a TED Talk. Woo! There's a system to everything. Absolute system to everything. And there's actually people, coaches out there that teach you how to get your TED Talk. Okay? I've actually worked with a coach in Melbourne when I was living down there. Who that was her specialty, how to get a TED Talk. So if you want me to introduce you, I'm more than happy to introduce you. We don't do a TED Talk process in this, but again, it's actually, there's a system to it, and it's just working out what that system is. As with absolutely everything, with getting TV, there's a system to it. With getting a TED Talk, there's a system to it as well. And often you just keep applying until you get in the certain way through the right channels. Has he? Fantastic. So ask him, how did he get on there? Ask him, what system did he use? How did he fall into it? Yeah. Even if he was approached about it the first time, applying then to get back on and have another one, there'll be a system he used. So I've never really sought doing a TED Talk. You've just inspired me. Maybe I should. Who knows? But if you research the system to get a TED Talk, there will be one, I promise you. And that's what I want you all to understand. When we get blocked, when we get really stuck with something, often the procrastination that happens, or the fear that happens, or the doubt that happens because we just don't know the how. Yeah? So we get stuck in the nothing, in the doing nothing and going round in circles because of the how. And if we just remember that absolutely everything, even in digital marketing, even in wanting to get on a TED Talk or wanting to get on stage with, I don't know, some huge name in wherever, there is a system to get there. And it's just how much you want it, your why, your contribution, your connection to your why, as to whether you're willing to research the system and follow through on the actions to get there. Yeah? So is procrastination real? It's a real effect. It feels real. But it's actually usually just a confusion about the next step, not really knowing how, or a learned behavior of not knowing how, or a learned fear response that when I do something, I do A and B happens, and I didn't like B. Yeah? And so the brain is now in a pattern of staying still and going round and round in circles. And so no matter how intensely somebody is in an anxious state, or how deep into procrastination or sabotage they are, or how into, I don't know what to do, I don't know what the next step is, blink, blink, blink. Let's just get some perspective on it all and help them get some perspective. Roll the eyes one way, roll them back, blink again, and then teach them to just yawn, opening up the back of the throat, stretching up so that the spine lengthens out, stretching out so that the heart opens, and yawning again. And then you take a deep breath, and honestly, whatever you were going through, the feeling will have changed. If it was extreme anxiety, it may not have disappeared completely, but it will be now in a state where they can actually think consciously rather than the panic. Make sense? So they're little if we include the physiology in our change work, then it actually changes at a much faster level as well. Most of us think we have to just do the kind of mind, CBT kind of therapy work. But actually, if we bring the physiology into it as well, it changes dramatically. I actually get them to start there. I teach them that and teach them to feel this. There's a recipe. You know how I said there's kind of like a system to do everything? There's also a system to panic attacks. There's a system to fear. There's a system to doubt. There's a system to depression. So I get them to work out what the recipe is for their panic attack. They will recognize it before it comes on. There'll be something going on in their body, or there'll be something going on in their mind or their emotions, and then it will escalate into a panic attack, often within seconds. But in that 3 or 4 seconds before it escalates, that recipe is just a system. If they learn what that system is and they did a yawn, a stretch, a blink, and they would calm it to the level that it would not be a full panic attack. It might just be an anxiety. Okay, I need to deal with this, and they could work themselves through it. Does that make sense? So get them to work out what the recipe is. And what I mean by recipe, I mean by the thought, the emotion, and the sensation. Those three things are a recipe for me for every behavior, every craving, every urge, every reaction, so it's what thought did they have, what emotion did they experience, and what sensation are they having right now. If you just choose one of those, focus on it, blink, yawn, stretch, all of those things, and interrupt that one thing, the others will fall away and the end result won't happen as severely as it was going to. Great. Oh my God, we just did an instant therapy lesson as well. Oh my God, we got off track, sorry. We were just looking at the global stuff before we went to the break. So obviously with global stuff, what I want to talk about is online press releases as well in a moment. This is really cool. Okay, this is where I said before that I actually got on the front page of Google for days on end about a particular blog I wrote. And I was this tiny little business talking about running an automated business for practitioners, and there were these big international businesses talking about automated systems in their businesses and things, and there was just little Maggie Wild above them. It was like, whoa! And that was just by using these kind of online press releases as well. So it really helps with your SEO. Podcasts and doing pitches to other podcasters around the world, which is fabulous. Some people want to do their own podcast. There's a lot of work that goes into launching a podcast, and it's a lot of work to keep doing it every week or every month. So I always think if there's big podcasts out there with big audiences already, why wouldn't you just want to piggyback? Mm-hmm. And they're always looking for great content. So if you become known as a good presenter, if you become known as constantly giving great stuff away, or constantly giving great content and advice, or constantly being animated and inspirational, then you get calls from all over the world. I've been on, I don't know how many, countless podcasts, just because they've heard somebody else's podcast and gone, oh my God, she's a really good guest, we should get her on. Yeah. So you just learn and practice, record yourself, listen back to yourself. If you bore yourself with your voice, then learn you have to get more animated. You have to learn to modulate your voice. Podcasts are just auditory. So people are normally listening in cars or on radio. So you've got to be able to use your voice with radio and podcasting. And so record yourself, see if you're boring, and then have a little play and record again. Use, really bring intonation into your voice, bring differences and tones into your voice. International TV, obviously, I'll talk to you a little bit about the pitching that we did in Hollywood, which was very fun, and international radio and organisations. And you will be surprised how often they want Australian guests on. They absolutely love, short term, the Australian accent. Yeah, they just love it. Absolutely, it's an amusement to them, absolute amusement to them, and so let's use that. And there's so many famous Australians out there in the media and in Hollywood and stuff now that where we've become a bit of a phenomenon in other countries in the world. So with local and national coverage, newspaper coverage, etc., what I want you to do is start doing some research. If you really do want some press, start doing some research about who are the journalists that cover your kind of industry. Who are the journalists that because journalists have to, I was the editor of a magazine, and I used to receive at least 20 or 30 press releases every day in my inbox. Do you think I could actually interview every one of those people and put their articles in the magazine? Absolutely not. Do you think I could read them all on top of everything else I had to do? Absolutely not. So if their headline in their subject line didn't inspire me for something I needed right now, it either went into my bin or it went into my maybe later useful articles, useful press releases folder, which I would then probably forget about because I get 20 more tomorrow, yeah? And so if somebody kept persisting and sent me a press release today, and I went, it's not interesting me, I'm working on this article, I don't need something on that, I'll put that there, maybe use it later, then forgot about it. And then I got one from them a week later, and I'd go, oh yeah, that's not what I need right now. Oh yeah, she did that last week, okay, put it aside. And then she sent me another one next week. Do you know what I would do? More often than not, I'd go, oh, for God's sakes, this is so annoying, I better look at it. Yeah, because I'd then feel guilty that I hadn't. They'd been persisting to try and grab my attention, and I'd feel guilty and I'd open it and look at it. So that was persistence. But most people get rejected the first time and they don't send anything else.
Do you remember the 4 ingredients, the recipe
Yes.
books, the 4 ingredients? Kim
McCloskey and Rachel Birmingham.
That's them. They kept sending their stuff to Current Affair.
Yes, that's
and
right.
They kept getting knocked back. And then they just kept on sending. And eventually they said, right, that person's going to have to go on holidays soon, that producer. That producer's eventually going to go on holidays. So they just kept sending every week, and then that producer did go on holidays. The new producer got it, saw them, and that's what put them on the map and made them the success because...
Absolutely. Yep. And it was the persistence. I actually know Rachel. She actually coached me on one of my earlier projects, and she was saying that they kept, and because she was the one that did it, she kept persisting, and she actually got. We kind of know who is kind of the head of that kind of organisation, and she kept getting a no from that person. And the person started getting really, really annoyed with her and saying, will you stop ringing? You are not suitable for the program. Just stop ringing. You're not going to get a spot on a show. Stop. And she just kept ringing. And exactly that. A couple of weeks later, she rang, and this other person answered the same phone number. And this other person answered and said, oh, actually, yeah, we're short on a segment. Can we come out and film you today? And did she go, oh God, doubt, no? No. She said, absolutely. The segment was filmed, edited, and went to air before that presenter got back from her holidays. And they went to air, and she obviously got back and went, well, what are they doing on my television show? So what do we gain from that? What do we gain from that? Persistence. To let go of our fear of rejection. Yeah? It wasn't that I was rejecting those press releases. She was actually rejecting that article. But it wasn't that I was rejecting the press releases. I was busy. And they weren't useful. I was on a deadline for a particular article for my magazine. And so I had to finish that in a deadline. And I didn't have time to read 20 other press releases that were coming through my inbox. And then I got another 20, and they took precedent over the ones that I received yesterday. But when somebody kept persistingly sending me something, it triggered a guilt in me. So I went, oh, for God's sakes, I'll open it and look at it. And sometimes that article was very relevant, and I scheduled it into the magazine a month or two later. Yeah? Or I rang them and organised an interview later on if they didn't give me enough information because it was relevant to something I could use down the track or a feature that I had planned for the coming month. If somebody then rang me after sending 2 or 3 press releases and I hadn't responded, and they rang me once and I'd said to my PA, oh, look, I'm just too busy, get them to leave a message. And then after a couple of weeks, if I got 2 or 3 messages from this same person, how guilty did I feel? I picked up the phone next time they called because I just felt bad that they continued to persist. And more often than not, they went in my magazine. Because of that emotional, it was kind of like an emotional blackmail thing. I felt it and I connected to it, and it works. And you've got to think about journalists are always looking for information. They're always looking for great content. And if you're going to present them with a press release with some really great content, it's not a sales letter about you, but really great content that their readers or their audience are going to benefit from, you've just saved them a hell of a lot of work. Do you think they're going to love who you are and want to hear from your press releases again and again later on? And once you develop that relationship with a journalist, you'll find that you could end up becoming their kind of go-to for certain segments, or when they're really short on content, they'll try and find a spot for you to stimulate ideas. And they did that with me with the Daily Edition. They realised I could do the confidence stuff and the self-esteem stuff and the fear stuff. And so they just had a list of my little specialties. And if ever there was a little segment that they needed to do, they would just ring me and see if I was available. Yeah. So when you develop a relationship with a journalist who writes or presents on your niche, then all of a sudden you can become the go-to in that field. So I would recommend you do some research with your local newspapers, your local magazines, your free magazines, your radios, and find out who is the journalist that works and reports on your niche. I would also recommend that you research, I think it was somebody here was talking about the day of something or the week of something. The week of a comma or the week of... Yes, research your national and your international weeks, days and months and find out which ones each year are relevant to your niche. So if you work in stress management and it's National Heart Week, can't you write a press release about, managing stress and da-da-da? It's National Heart Week. Here's a whole new approach to it. So that's what you're saying to the journal. Here's a whole new approach to it. This is, a new technique in stress management. And let's get these heart statistics down. Yeah? Do you see how it's about getting out of your comfort zone and just making the call, forgetting about rejection? Rejection is just an opportunity to try again, and getting off your butt and doing it. Taking action. Yep.
In a newspaper, an article into a newspaper about quitting smoking using hypnotherapy, and rang. I didn't know who to send it to, and I rang the person that I sent it to the following day, and he was like, "Oh, actually, I'm the sports writer." I said, "Did you get my article?" He said, I focus more on sport. And I said, "Oh, well, who should I have sent that to?" And he said, I'll send it to someone else. And I said to him, can you give me their name so I can follow up with them? And I followed up, and they sent a photographer out and they did a whole half a page article.
Persistence, persistence, persistence. He kept trying to say, I'll do this, I'll do that. And she just kept asking, to the point where he had to answer, this is their name. And follow up, and it becomes a great article. It benefits the magazine or the newspaper, and it benefits your business as well. But again, when you're going to send those kind of press releases, it's definitely about their reader. It's not about you. Often they allow you, especially in press, in print press, they allow you to put your contact details in there. They do allow you to have a link to a website or a phone number to contact. So, and if you put it in there and they take it out, then that's okay too. But if it's local, people are going to look you up anyway. You get known for that. But what can you do with that then? Once it's appeared in the newspaper or in a magazine, what can you now do with it?
Once you've had it published, you then say, as featured in Quest newspaper.
What do I have on all of my landing pages? As featured on Sunrise, as seen on A Current Affair, as heard on National ABC Radio, as heard on the Mentality Program, as heard on whatever it is, Los Angeles Law of Attraction Radio, whatever it is. It's as seen on, as heard on. It becomes a brand.
Then when I'm doing on Friday, maybe on Channel 10, is that a big...
That's an as seen on Channel 10 moment. Oh my God. So you download the Channel 10 logo from the internet, and that goes on all of your branding now, as seen on Channel 10. There is a company called Media Clips, so anytime you are featured on even a 1 millisecond segment of TV, Media Clips, you cannot use that you cannot replay that on any of your websites itself without permission, without copyright, okay? So this company called Media Clips, you contact, and they are the national resource center for every TV, radio, you name it. And all you have to do is give them the name and the date, the show that you were on, the rough time that you were on, and they will search that for that file, take a clip of it, and send it to you on either DVD or as a digital file. It will cost you. It'll be about $45 or $55, something like that per clip, but that gives you then the right to use it. So I can now use that Sunrise clip on all of my websites. I can use it on all of my media. I use it in commercials, in ads and things on my social media and stuff again, because I bought the right to use it. Okay, so there's so much that you can do that's outside of all the paid stuff as well. Follow the press release template. We can email you this after the program. Keep a press release to one page. Absolute must. So the one page has to end with 4 hashtags. You know the hashtag symbol? So you end the press release so that the journalist knows that's the end of the press release with 4 hashtags. You always have your contact details up the top. You'll get a template when we email it out to you, but it will have available for live in studio interview or available for telephone interview, depending on whether it's, or available for live if it's a radio station, available for live to air interview. And so you're giving them the understanding immediately that this person is willing to be interviewed immediately. And of course, if they ring you, because your phone number's on it, you answer the phone and you say, yes, absolutely, because I have a pinch of courage and I have a pinch of authority and I'm about to do it, and say yes. Cool? If you get to know the journalists or editors who specialize in your area, it might be lifestyle, it might be health, in a relevant niche, then you can actually tailor your press releases to those people and develop relationships with them, as I said before. And always let them know that you're available with other interests and topics that you're a specialist in. So they have an idea if they have if their editor comes to them and says, okay, you did an article on such and such, on let's say wealth creation last week, and now we want to do an article on why people don't create wealth, and they know that one of your topics is letting go of the blocks of money blocks, then they may go, oh my God, I interviewed them the other month, I'll go and grab them again. Research your local, state, national, international days, weeks and months. Another one is look at topical events and see how, even if they're really big international topical events, see how you can adapt them to your industry if it's possible. So say, for instance, I saw the iPhone release of one of the latest iPhones. It was a couple of years ago, and they knew when it was coming out. So they sent out press releases about the effects of social media, on the child's brain and blah, 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 blah. And so that they got picked up as an interview because of that. I saw somebody else, when another iPhone was about to come out, actually send in the effects of the fear of change, Who'd have think that the fear of change with a new iPhone, what's the relation? Well, she tailored the press release to be the fear of changing your technology and how freaky that can get for some people, So it became a funny interview, and she got on television because of that. So just think about what's happening in the world around you and how you can tailor what you do to the market needs that are going on around you. Think of the out-of-the-box regular annual events as well. Journalists are always, and especially TV shows and breakfast shows, Christmas comes around every year. Easter comes around every year. Anzac Day comes around every year. Valentine's Day comes around every year. They get bored giving the same information out every year. If you can come up with a new idea for a great story around those normal annual events, they will snap it up. They're always looking for something new, a new angle to the ordinary. Make sense? Relevant, make sure it's all relevant. All your press releases relevant to that particular press outlet and to their audience. Okay, research their demographic. Know who their audience is, because if you pitch to a journalist and you're pitching to an age group of the 20s to 30s and their demographic is 45 to 55, do you think they're ever going to look at your stuff again? Research your stuff first. Know who you're sending it to. And of course, case studies who are willing to tell their story. Newspapers, TV, that's how I've been on A Current Affair. That's how I've been on Sunrise, because I had clients who were so excited with the changes in their lives that they were willing to speak nationally to inspire other people about it. So be nurturing your clients who've had these amazing success stories, and just ask them. There's no harm in asking them. The girl that went on A Current Affair with me, she actually approached me one day when she saw that Trish was going to be on Sunrise. She said to me, oh my God, I've always wanted to be on television. I've always wanted to be on television. Do you think I could? And I went, I don't know, maybe, if you're willing to. The next time I get asked, of course. Who do you think I went to when I was asked to go on A Current Affair? The first person that I could think of was Joanna, because she'd already said, oh, it'd be so exciting. And so what I did in the meantime was I went on this next little website that I'm going to show you, and I sourced magazines that were looking for weight loss success stories. And I found a Take 5 journalist that was on this website who was looking for a new Dieters Club of the Month award winner. And so I sent in Joanna's story. So 1 week she was in Take 5 magazine as the Dieter of the Month, and the next 2 weeks or so she was on A Current Affair. Do you think she lived her dream? Oh yeah, she was so excited, as were her family. Her family were over the moon. They never thought that their daughter could do this for her, So just no harm in asking. You just don't know. And media love it. They absolutely love those before and afters. They love, there's visual. They love to be able to interview the person themselves rather than the therapist that did it. But I always get on with them, yeah? So I then become the expert. So they'll talk about her and her inspiration. She'll, go through her story, and then I get asked, so how did you do that? Yeah? And then it goes to her, and she gives more inspiration and how she feels. And so what was the step you did there? And so you begin to be seen as the expert in that whole story and scenario. It's fabulous. So this is specific to television. Obviously, you've got different types of TV shows to pitch to. So you've got your morning shows, your mid-morning shows, your afternoon shows like the 2 o'clock daily edition, and then, of course, your evening shows like The Project and things like that as well. They have completely different demographics and completely different stories. So really start to research. If you want to get on any of those shows, research what their demographic is. Who are they looking for? And keep in mind, the average TV interview will last 90 seconds to about 3 minutes tops for a kind of a chat show, and longer will depend on who you are. The more famous you are, the more time you get, obviously. And then even if you're promoting your new book or event, you make it about their audience, you don't make it about you. Because they're going to promote your book anyway at the end of it, especially on Breakfast Show. They put a big splash up of your book, they put a big splash up of available now, and go to our website and have a look, and they put your website up. So you might as well do it about the audience, make it about them. What does Annie teach you? You make it about them, you get to know their language, you get to know them, and the audience on the other side of the screen get to love you before you even finish the interview. They're picking up the phone and they're ordering your book, okay? Television loves visual props. If you can bring something visual to show, they love it. So I've actually taken fat lumps, the fat lumps that you can buy for therapeutic purposes, medical purposes. So I've got a 2.2 kilogram fat lump, and I've got a half a kilo fat lump, and I took them all around America with me in my suitcase, carried my fat lumps with me, yeah? And every breakfast TV show I went on in America, I brought my fat lump and I showed them what a half a pound of fat was really like, and what that was doing to the visceral fat in your veins, and what that was doing for the health of your body, how many years it was adding to your life. They loved it, absolutely loved it. And the interviewer would pick it up and they'd hold it in the hand while they were interviewing, and they'd be going, oh, it's disgusting, isn't it? Oh, they love that kind of stuff, especially on breakfast TV, yeah? Absolutely love it. You also send a B-roll. So you send ideas to links on YouTube, or links of your own videos, or links of research that are on YouTube that they might be able to cut away to as B-rolls. The less work they have to do in producing your segment, because they're producing for morning TV, they've got like 5 hours of TV to produce. And they're 3-minute segments. They need a lot of content. So the less work you can make it for the journalist, the more likely you are to get on the segment. Be creative. Obviously, a potential demonstration as well. I remember on the San Diego Breakfast TV, I did with a chap there. He obviously had some big stuff to move through. I was running a free workshop in San Diego on the CPR brain training and the stuff out of my Unzip book. And he came on, and I brought the fat lump with me, and I bought a couple of other things. He was fascinated by the book, and he'd struggled with weight all his life, and so he was really into it. And his dad used to talk about the power of the mind, and so he was so into this interview. It was fantastic. It went longer than it should have done, but he obviously had a lot of stuff, because he says live on air on the breakfast show, he says, What about when you have those kind of thoughts where you're thinking to yourself in the morning and you're looking in the mirror and you're going, oh, what a lard ass. And I went, okay. And he said, but I joke about it. But if I'm joking about it, is that still wiring my brain for being more of a lard ass? And I was like, oh, bless you, darling. It was really cute. But they love that kind of stuff. So I did a little demonstration on him on the power of the mind, and how even joking about that, if there's a truth and a belief at the subconscious level, it's still wiring it, even though you're trying to laugh it off. And so he was fascinated by it and said, whenever you're in San Diego, after we got off air, whenever you're in San Diego, you let me know. We'll have you back on air. You were fabulous. So you've developed a relationship with somebody, yeah? You made it fun. You made it interactive. You showed props. I sent them B-rolls to show, and they had a ball with it. And their listeners or their viewers do as well then. And they want you back on it because it's high rating TV. They love the top tips, okay? If you can provide a list of 3 to 5 maximum tips, what they'll do is cut away to those tips as you talk about them. So it's always towards the end of the interview. So you'll have done a little demonstration, or you've done what you've done. They'll have shown your B-rolls. You'll have been interviewed along the way. And at the end, they'll say, so what are the top things that you can, tell our viewers to do, or the first 3 steps that they need to think about? And then they'll put those steps up and you talk your way through them, and that's how the interview will end. There's a formula to everything, yeah? And if you follow the formula, get to know how it works, you can get to know how to pitch to them as well. Many of the bigger shows will provide the scripts. We talked about that before, and press releases should provide those B-rolls. Remember, TV is visual, so make sure that you're giving them as much as possible to potentially cut away to. And the more visually interesting it is, the more likely you'll be considered for a segment. For radio, you've got obviously breakfast, mid-morning, lunch, mid-afternoon, afternoon, and of course the early evening and the nighttime shows. So there's a lot of different, and they are after a very different demographic for each one. So you want to, again, research the demographics. I used to work for a radio station called Hot 91, and they had very specific regulations around who was on air for different segments at different times. And so just research who are their demographic, all their stuff, all of their, if you actually download their media kits from the websites, you'll see all of their demographics in their media kits. They provide it for you. It's all free information on their websites because they think that you're going to buy advertising with them. But find out who their demographic is. And keep in mind, the average interview on radio will be between 10 and 20 minutes, okay? Normally 10, but you're only on air for about 2 or 3 minutes of that because they intersperse it with music, they intersperse it with weather, they intersperse it with the news. And so you might be in the studio for up to 20 minutes, but you'll be on air for maybe 2 or 3, maybe 4 at the most, depending again on how famous you are and how well known you are, as to how long they'll keep you on. And it's usually fun. And in between, you're normally chatting to the radio host, you're having a good conversation with them. Then they go, oh, hang on for a minute, and they change over the music. And then they go, oh, hang on for a minute, I just need to know the news. And they flick on the news, and then they have another chat. And then they go, we're going to air 2 seconds. And then they shut down, you're back on air again. So it's very interactive. In pitching with radio, always make the topic and your comments about the audience again, not about you. And many of the bigger radio shows will actually provide the scripts and the guidelines too. So it's very similar to TV. Because radio is non-visual, you need to be able to modulate your voice a lot, okay, and show range and pitch and tone and lots of emotion and create interest in your voice. And if it's an appropriate show, they might even like a talkback segment. So if it's the kind of show and they do talkback at certain times of the day, so research when that is and pitch maybe a talkback segment where they can actually have live listeners ringing in. Okay, and normally in the smaller stations, they usually try and have somebody pre-prepped, so they'll announce it beforehand, and then they'll say after the break we'll be having a live call. They're kind of hoping and waiting that the lines will go, but the bigger stations, they're answering the calls immediately. There's usually a wait list for them. If you are a wellness practitioner that specialises in trance type stuff or meditation type stuff, you cannot demonstrate. Yeah, you can demonstrate on TV because most people aren't watching TV in the car, but you cannot demonstrate on radio any kind of technique like that because people are driving the car. So definitely just think about the types of demonstrations you would do if you're on radio. You remember that it's not visual, so it's got to be something that you can describe verbally and have an auditory reaction to rather than a verbal reaction, a visual. Okay? All right, so these are must-dos before we move on very, very quickly. Always follow up. If you're going to send a press release or a TV segment, do not go into fear about the fact that they didn't call you or didn't respond to your press release. Pick up the phone and follow up. They've got 50 of them. The bigger ones have probably got 100 in their inbox. Follow up, follow up, follow up. And if they do not pick up after your first call, don't take that as a no. Just do it again. Send them another press release the month later or the week later. Just keep in touch. Within a couple of months, if you're persistently doing that, they're going to know your name, and eventually somebody's going to go, oh, what is this person sending us? We better look, for God's sakes. And if they send you a stop sending us stuff, you decide from there. It's your choice. I didn't say anything. Don't take no for a permanent no, okay? It's simply no for now. I really need you to get that. It's just no for now. They're not working on that topic right now. They're writing a different story, or they're producing a different segment. And it could just be an example of wrong topic, wrong timing, wrong pitch, wrong producer even. Some producers decide they take a dislike to your website picture and they go, nah, I don't want them. Yeah. But another producer might look at your website and go, because they'll do their research. If you pitch something, they'll then go and see whether there's any YouTube stuff on you. They'll go and watch whether you're good on camera. They'll go and watch whether you're listen to your voice. They'll do lots of stuff to see that you're actually capable of doing what they need. They need entertainment. They want to know that you're capable of doing it. Know their listener, know their viewer, know their reader, and if appropriate, offer a free giveaway. Always ask, is it okay if I offer a free ebook? They can your viewers can actually download my book free of charge. Or we can give away. I do this with radio a lot. I used to be a regular on a Cairns radio station, and I would give away 5 copies of my book, hard copies of my book every time to radio, and they'd run a competition. Every time they knew I was in, they'd run a competition, and we would have queues of people waiting to get on the line, and we'd do a talk back, and we'd have queues of people waiting to get on the line to win my book. Yeah. What do I get out of that? Huge exposure. I would give away 5 books. No skin off my nose. Yep. And practice responses to time them. So if you do get your questions in advance, practice them to time them, knowing your segment's only going to be 2 to 3 minutes. They'll tell you how long your segment's going to be. Make sure you stick to it. Okay, no point in, they'll cut you off if you go over. So if your interview is kind of left hanging in the air, it kind of doesn't come to a conclusion. So the viewers don't feel satisfied. So they're left in a taste in their mouth of you of not feeling satisfied, and subliminally are less likely to reach out for you next time. So time to make sure you stay within their guidelines. Record a film of yourself as well. See how you look on camera and listen to how you sound. Listen, if you have habits where you close your eyes when you talk and things, just learn to look at what you're doing on camera visually to see how that's going to appeal to others. Sourcebottle.com, who's used this before? OMG, I get so much press from this. And I used to do the paid version. I never got anything while I was doing the paid version. I just do the free version. All of the press I've got from Sourcebottle has been from the free version only. They have a subscription model as well, but I've been on Women's Day, as I said, Take 5, so many different magazines. And journalists put their stuff on here, even podcasters, lots of people put their stuff on here to say, we're looking for somebody to interview who's a specialist in this, or somebody who's experienced that. Or somebody who's got a free giveaway for our readers or whatever. And you might have a product you want to give away or a book you want to give away. Never know. Help a reporter. So it's H-A-R-O, Harrow. So the Sourcebottle is Australian. If you want the same thing, but international, American one is actually Help a Reporter, H-A-R-O. And it does the same thing as Sourcebottle. So all of the international journalists, not just America, are putting out calls for interviews, for information, for people to be interviewed on, for freebies to give away, all that kind of stuff. Press release uploads, they are free or paid. So I've used PR Web and I've used WebWire. I've used PR Web and WebWire a lot and gained a lot of online press releases and ended up on the top of Google and things numerous times. So what I do is I have a system where I write a blog, and this was taught to me by actually Kirsten McDonald in Victoria, Geelong Social Media, that's right. This system was taught to me by her, and it works tremendously well. I write a blog about a particular topic, and I put 5 keywords in that blog that are relevant to that topic, and then I use those keywords as hashtags in all of my posts on social media. And then I write a press release with those keywords in the press release as well, with the link to my blog in the press release. And then I upload the press release to WebWire or PR Web, and my blog goes out, the press release goes out. I put the blog on my websites and all of my social media site, so it's all going out at the same time. And everything I post has those 5 keywords on it. And your SEO goes up organically. Okay, so it doesn't replace, if you're using AdWords and other SEO techniques, it doesn't replace that, but it helps boost organic reach. And I've actually seen, if I do that, a concentrated campaign of that for 3 months, I've seen my organic reach and my interaction on social media go up without any other change. And so that's a way to actually get your press releases out online as well. Okay, and journalists from all over the world are looking at those sites. So if they see that, you know, there's a press release on a particular topic that they're researching at the moment, then you could get a call from London Daily Mail. Yeah, one of the ways that I got a call, we got a 3-page spread in London Daily Mail, a 3-page spread. Yeah, we had a tiny article in the Sydney Morning Herald on my new book, the Unzip book that had just come out, and talking about a particular client, Trish, the lady that went on Sunrise. And that went on to Webwire as well. So the article was a hard copy in the Sydney Morning Herald. It went on Sydney Morning Herald's online site, and it went up on Webwire. And a journalist, I got a call from a journalist for the London Daily Mail asking if Trish Walker would mind to be interviewed and could they have a copy of my book. Did I say no? My book wasn't even out yet. It had gone off to be printed. It was due back in about 3 or 4 days from the printer, and we'd had the little article in the Sydney Morning Herald. And so before the book even arrived on my doorstep, within 24 hours, because it was online, she was interviewed by the telephone. Within 24 hours, that appeared in the London Daily Mail as a 3-page story on Trish. She just had to send lots of photos. She had a half an hour on the telephone with the journalist, and it all linked back to my website with my book. OMG. Yeah? How cool is that? And that was just through these kinds of online press release, and how one small little, you never know where it's going to go, one small little article that was about 2.5 paragraphs long ended up being a 3-page spread. Cool? And went online in the female edition of London Daily Mail. So it was all over the world as well. You never know where it's going to go. You just got to have what? Confidence. A sprinkle of what? Courage. And do your research. That's it. Bring those things together. So that's it. You release your blog, your 5 keywords, and then you do that online press release, and it does help your organic SEO as well. Share the blog anywhere and everywhere that you can, and ensure that all of your posts in that week and that month have the same keywords, exactly the same keywords. So they're hashtagged. Does everyone understand what a hashtag is? Yeah? Does anyone not understand why we use hashtags? All good? Fantastic. So, any questions? We're coming to a close and I have to leave you. Oh my God.
What is it? What is the best way to do it now? So, do you use like I've got Happy Mind Online as my business, but should I be now focusing on promoting me?
As an author, you need your domain name for your name if it's available. Even if you don't have an actual website for it, have one page on your website that your domain name is forwarded to. But all authors should have, because people will start to search for your name and your book. So you need your book title and you need the domain for your name if you can get it. And you know the clever, supposedly clever little URLs that people get where they think if they just change an S to a Z and a Z to a what, don't do it. Yeah, it makes it so hard for people. They get it wrong anyway, and yeah, you got to explain it all the time. It makes it feel weak. It actually takes away its power. Yeah. So you could do, I don't know, if Susan Smith is not available, you could do Susan Smith Wellness or Susan Smith Book or something like that. So at least you get something, okay, with the actual name in it.
If it's taken and there's other options to be used, it would be easy to remember your name. They just type your name, dot whatever, doesn't matter. It's just your name.
Annie, what would you prefer? If .com is gone, definitely .au is that I would snap it up anyway if it's available. But would you do .net or would you you wouldn't do any of them? So you just leave .com.au. Yep.
Many new ones that people don't know whether you're a .org, a .tv, a .online, and they don't
Yeah.
trust it anywhere near as much as a .com.
Yeah.
And that's been proven. Find a new name, get the domain, get the .com. I've got like
Yeah.
100 domain names registered.
Oh, me too. I get the bills for my domain names every now and then, and they renew, and I go, oh, really? I better cleanse them one day. And then it's like, oh, just in case. Oh, just in case. Anyone else have a question there just on that? No? So if you, just before we close, for those of you, thank you if you have put your applications in, fantastic. I'll make sure I read all of those within the next 24, 48 hours, and you'll hear back very, very shortly as to whether we're taking that to the next level and confirm your appointments and things. Remember, the applications that are put in today at the event do get the 1997 price. And actually, I just wanted to go through kind of a bit of a reality check. And it was when this was put together by the beautiful Annie, I did a reality check on it myself. I actually hadn't realized the value that we were giving in the program. And it kind of blew my mind as well. So I was actually reading it in a bit. Oh my God, it is. I didn't realize the incredible value. And if I think back to what it's cost me to get to here, it's probably 5 times this as well, with all of the mistakes that I've actually made. So access to me, what do we call that? Priceless? Thank you, Annie. That's very, very kind. Hopefully for Michael, I'm priceless too. Certainly the 3-day one-on-ones, they are worth to spend we pay for your accommodation, we pay for your food, all of those 3-day things with your author stuff, and we call them retreats because we really help you get into that relaxed space where your creativity opens up, where everything opens up in your mind to get what you need to get out of your head in those 3 days and actually achieve the outcomes. Because you will have the first draft of your book by the end of those 3 days. You will have done your photo shoot. We actually do your photo shoot that time. We do your makeup and stuff for the videoing as well for the video stuff, but we bring a makeup artist and a photographer to the book one because we need your photos for the book covers, for the back covers, potentially for inside the cover if you need it as well. And so, all of that's included in that 3-day weekend, and it is fabulous. Depending on whether there's 4 or 5 or 10 that are coming to it, sometimes it might be 3.5 or 4 days, but we work that out based on how much time we need and how many people are going to be there. All right, so priceless, yes. 3-day one, yes. Oh my God, I can't believe when it all comes together, it even blows my mind. The book completed and formatted, edited, designed and published. Like, I know publishers or self-publishers that charge $65,000 to do what I'm going to do for just the book, nothing else. Like, incredible stuff, where they actually give you all the editing and all of that stuff and the media kits and things. The social languaging, oh my God. And that she is underselling that. She actually sells that for much more. Like, that is just so worthwhile.
When you join Maggie's program, you get all my ad formulas. I paid $30,000 for one ad formula. And I've done that at least 10 times. So you get like access to $300,000 worth of ad formulas. And I put it as 20 grand or whatever it was, just to keep it sort of realistic. But over the last few years, that's what I've paid to work with the best in the world to get their formulas.
And by a formula, what Annie means is she's got how many different formulas? 12 different formulas. So she's got something called, say, a favour ad formula, something called a project formula. And so we look at all the different types of formulas of ads and see the project that you're working on, the model that you're about to, the funnel that you're about to release and the product you're selling. And we look at which is the kind of ad formula that we can tweak that's going to suit that suits your personality, and we reword that, manage that. And it's like the story formulas, yeah? That's the same with the ad formula. We follow the formula of the story of an ad. And Annie's devised 12 of those. And they are out there with thousands and thousands of her clients that are out there earning tens of thousands of dollars instead of $2 on their ads. Yeah. So, and all of that comes with our program as well, which obviously you get the posting plans as well, which is when you see those workshop models that Annie has, it blows my mind every time I go in and use them. And I still go in and use them sometimes and go, okay, well, I'm missing that and I'm missing that and I need to do that. And it's just, there's a wealth of information there. The 3 funnels that we're going to build out for you, my techie team will build out for you completely. As you said, you know, I think Chris charges what? I don't know.
20, 25.
Crazy stuff, yeah, but worthwhile, because one funnel can make you 4 times that, 10 times that, 20 times that. You just, you know, it's unlimited to what it can potentially do. Photography, obviously, and owning the copyright of your images can cost you huge with photographers out there. So when we find you the right photographer, we're going to find you one that is willing to sign away that copyright to you, which is just fabulous. The online course platform, CRM, the hosting, etc., that can be upwards of $2,500, and we're going to source that and give that to you for the year as well. You'll take over the hosting after that. The hosting aspect of it, the actual build and stuff will already have been done. So you'll just have the hosting fee of maybe maximum, if you use the whole hosting of the reverse marketing as well, is about $100 a month. That will be your ongoing fee for that. Obviously, if you have to buy domains and all those things, they come out of your pocket. We don't pay for your domains. Video production and editing, look, we've estimated that at 12, I mean, I can't tell you how much I've spent on video editing. So, you know, we've put an estimate on that because we had to, but it's probably well in excess of that. The chatbot messenger itself, you can pay thousands for that. The depth of chatbot that Kelly's built for me, that sells for, even just the clinic one can sell for $3,000 to $5,000 alone. If you just do the clinic one only, for some of the developers and things at the kind of depth that we've done it at. Marketing message, posting interviews with Annie Murray. Oh my God, you're putting so much in our program. Oh my God, thank you. Oh my God. Facebook ads, Funky Monkey Speedy marketing. We're going to provide for you a couple of one-on-ones with Sherry or with Shenny or with Georgia, whoever's available. And we're also going to provide you 3 months access to their online Facebook group, and of course I'm going to be so you can post any question about your Facebook ads for 3 months once your campaign's up and running, and that's all included in the program as well. Fortnightly accountability coaching calls, and obviously you get your coaching call with me, and we have it programmed at least once a month. When emergencies happen and other stuff comes up, or a deadline happens, or you get called from Channel 7 and say you have to be on such and such, and you go, Maggie, then we can do something else about that, okay? Obviously, the ongoing support is there for you whenever you need from my team, and we're there for you. And really, it blows my mind, actually, at the value. I think Annie tallied that up to be value of $196,000. It's crazy.
You're still alive then. You can pay all that money and you're still working on your own.
If you went out and did that by yourself, yeah, you'd get it and you'd pay that, but you would still be alone working in your business wondering if you'd done it right. Yeah? I loved your expression when you did that. It was like, and you're still alone? But think about it. Yeah? Most of us who are trying to change where we are right now and move into a new dimension of ourselves, there is that feeling that we're doing it on our own when we work in this industry. Unless we have a business partner, we're actually making decisions about our future. We're making decisions about the things we spend our money on, our hard-earned money on. We're making decisions about the direction of our business. And it all comes from having to trust yourself that you're making the right decision. And, you know, have you got the right information to do it? Have you researched enough? Have you done your due diligence? And often that can be a really scary place and a very lonely place. I used to find it a very, very lonely place. And to know, even like this weekend when I found out that Annie was coming, even though I have my amazing, amazing husband who supports me in absolutely everything I do, but he doesn't really understand the depth of the kind of business I operate because he doesn't work in this industry, and I don't expect him to. He's got a whole other business to run, and I don't expect to know the depth of his business as well. And to know that there was just somebody who had my back here, and it's going to make me cry when I think about it. Sorry. Because it did when she told me she was coming as well. It's just incredible because somebody has my back as well. Does that make sense? So to know that there's somebody there for you is incredibly powerful, and somebody who's been there and done it with a hard slog. Like I did it the hard way because I didn't have the support that if I could have bought a program like this when I first started, oh my God, I would have been probably 10 times ahead of where I am right now anyway, but I would have done it the easy way, and I wouldn't have done it with the stress that I'd done it. So if anyone is unsure, is kind of wondering whether they should or whether they're quite ready, then please just think about, if you want that feeling of security and you want to at least have the conversation, put in the expression of interest and the application, and at least I can have a read of it and give you an honest phone call about where I think you're at, and we can discuss that, okay? And I will be very honest. I know there's at least one person in the room that I've said to them that they don't feel quite ready yet, and I've actually said to them, I agree with you. Let's just leave it there and let's stay in touch. I want you to connect with me. I want you to just keep telling me what you're doing. Keep in touch with me, and I will be that honest with you, because I don't want to work with people that aren't ready to move through stuff, or aren't ready to allocate time to it, or that genuinely have something very important going on in their life and are going to make it difficult for them and difficult for me to make the program work. So if you're unsure and you just want to chat about what's possible, we can certainly make an honest decision about that together once we work that out. So if there is anyone still thinking, then we'll be here for another half an hour while we pack up and stuff. But I would love to have the conversation at least. Thank you, gorgeous Annie. Thank you to my amazing team. Can I have the team come up?
Cheers to Maggie. Thank you for
Didn't get a standing ovation. Don't. I was joking.
Today without spending a cent, and she's given you the keys to the kingdom. This wasn't a get you here and sell you something. This is a get you here and show you how. She's done that. She's delivered on every promise.
It's what I wanted.
You're amazing.
When I'd go to these things, I wanted the real stuff. I didn't want the surface stuff that didn't really get you, were left needing more and a lot more. Whereas I wanted to give you everything I got. Yeah, that yes, it might have overwhelmed you, but at least if you are the person that can take action, if you are the person that can go and do it alone, then you've got what you need. You actually do have what you need. Okay. Can I have the staff up? I would love to just acknowledge all of the hard work and the efforts. Come on, guys, this is your chance. Get up here. We have the most amazing Nicole. These guys have volunteered their time this weekend. We have Nicole, we have Kelly, we've got our gorgeous Darren and my gorgeous Michael. We have beautiful Kira and, of course, Lachlan. And these guys have volunteered this weekend. So, yes, absolutely. Woo! Thank you all. Thank you so much. Mwah. So thank you all. And you guys, big cheers to you. You have given 3 days of the most important, weekends as mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, business owners, to give 3 days of your life and your time is incredible. Some of you have flown from Bali and New Zealand and Sydney and Melbourne and Perth. And, thank you for giving me the presence and the honour of being able to inspire, because this is what I do. This is what I do for my life. I love that I get to do this. And that has given me so much, just knowing that I've seen lights come on in people's eyes all weekend, and it just warms my heart. That's why I do what I do, and I know it's why you guys do what you do, and it really, really warms my heart and makes me know that I'm on the right path too. So thank you for coming to see us too. Big hugs to you all. And remember, it's time to unleash your potential. What are you? And yes, you are. Thank you very, very much. And safe journey home.